Hello, and thank you all for coming. My name is Kate Zwaard, and I'm the new Executive Director of CNI. You all are amazing. I've been coming to CNI for about 10 years now. I started as a speaker and then as a member rep, and I'm really excited to make this my new home. I'm going to start with a few housekeeping notes. We're really excited about the program. We tried to balance the presentations about AI with all of the other things that we still have to do with. And I hope you'll be pleased, but also I hope that you'll be honest and forthright with your thoughts at the end of the meeting. There's a few housekeeping notes on the program. The Open at Scale, Exploring the Value and Impact of BTAA's Open Publishing Agreement model has been canceled. Unfortunately, the speakers can't make it. And so we've moved the Revisiting the Library Copyright Allowance Principles on AI and Copyright from Regency A to Columbia B, which is a bigger room. And all of those changes will be noted in SCED and on the bulletin board. The breakfast tables tomorrow are looking really interesting, so I encourage you to take a look today and make a plan. These are first come, first serve, so get there early if there's a topic that you think is going to be popular. In terms of communication, we'll be posting schedule changes and other emerging news on SCED. And then there's a physical communication board near the registration table and on Slack. More on that later. If you need any help while you're here, you can always email any member of staff whose email you have handy, or staff@cni.org. That goes to all of us. We're really happy to help. So anything you need. In terms of spatial orientation, all events are on this floor. There are 3 breakout rooms, including this one, the other 2 on the other side of registration beyond the escalators. Breaks are in the registration area. Some of you have already had breakfast, so you know where that is. And meals and this evening's reception will be just next door. There is a gender-neutral restroom on the 2nd floor by the elevators opposite the Grand Canyon room. And if you need any help navigating, again, ask any member of staff. We're here to help. In terms of this plenary, I wanted to start off this morning with some announcements and a bit of meta conversation about CNI itself in this time of transition. And then we'll end with a really exciting talk by Ben Lee that will give us a bird's eye view of AI applications in our sector. A few notes of welcome. Welcome to our new members and rejoining members. So Hoover Institution Libraries and Archives, welcome back to Lafayette College Libraries, Notch 8, Springer Nature, and the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Can we have a round of applause for our new folks? We have a couple of special welcomes. Our community would like to extend a special welcome to a few groups. One is international attendees. We want to thank all of you who traveled especially far or had to go through Customs and Border Control to get here. Your presence enriches our community, and we're really grateful. Welcome to ARL Leadership Fellows. Could you guys stand up? Yes. Y'all are joining us as part of a year-long program designed to prepare the next generation of leaders in research libraries and archives, and we're really glad to have you. As you may know, CNI is a member organization. Each institution names 2 representatives. About 40 of you today are new member representatives. Some of you know CNI well but have changed institutions, while others are completely new to our community. Either way, we extend a warm welcome to you in your new capacity. First-time attendees, about 80 of you, roughly 20%, are here for the first time, joining as a new member representative, a speaker, an invited guest, or a substitute for your institution's member rep. If this is your first time here, could you raise your hand, please? Awesome. That's so exciting to see all you. To our seasoned members, a reminder to please say hello to our new members and introduce them around a bit. A little can help a lot. First-time attendees, I have a special message for you. The purpose of this meeting is as much about connecting with colleagues doing similar work as it is about the program. Please take advantage of passing breaks to meet a new person. And please come to the reception. It's short and it's fun, and it's a great opportunity to begin or sustain lasting connections. And remember, many of us are introverts, so we might be a little bit shy, but all of us are kind. So please be brave and introduce yourself. And also, if you're not a member representative, but you find yourself an intellectual home here, remember that you can always propose a talk. Speakers get an invitation. Now, on to some experiments, some things we're trying for the first time this year. The first known use of the term icebreaker comes from Erasmus in the 15th century. I found that amazing. He describes its figurative meaning as to open the way, metaphorically sending one boat ahead of the fleet to break up the ice. And while I can't imagine Erasmus playing truths and a lie, he himself would say, the worst evil is hardness of heart. And in that spirit, I would like to invite you all to play a game of People Bingo to encourage you to introduce yourself to attendees you don't know very well yet. If you haven't already, you can pick up a game board at registration. Everyone is welcome to play, but only first-time attendees are eligible for these fantastic prizes. First-timers, when you get bingo, email Paige, that's paige@cni.org, and 3 winners will be determined by order of receipt. And for those of you who are established and comfortable here, please help our first-timers out to fill out their squares. The next new thing we're trying is Slack. This one's a little bit of a bigger swing, but I think it could have a bigger potential payoff. If you haven't signed up and would like to, you can use this QR code or search your email for Paige, Pope, and Slack. As many of you already know, because you use this tool already, Slack gives us a way to communicate informally and quickly, either directly to a person or in a channel that the group has access to. I find it interesting that we all use email and maintain these like Victorian norms, like, "Dear Toby, it's been a dark, cold winter. I hope this finds you well." But Slack allows us to cut out all of that and just kind of be chatty with one another. You can use this tool for things like making a plan to find a friend for lunch, sharing session notes, posting links to related resources in a session that you're attending. And I'd like to ask you a favor, and that is to please be bold in trying it this time. There are no established norms, so there's no way to violate them as long as you're following our code of conduct, which you all would anyway. There's a general channel that all attendees can see. You can use this for conversation and note sharing. There's a CNI meetings channel you can use to reach out to staff for help or information. Participating in this is optional. We're not adding another channel that you have to pay attention to. It's only for those who want it. If this feels like a distraction, give it a pass. If you're curious, please join us. If you've not used Slack before, one tip I have is to think about it as a live conversation. You don't need to catch up with things you've nixed. Dip in, see what people are talking about, and dip out. As always, we would love to hear your feedback. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerned. And now, this is our 71st meeting. And for about 50 of those, we heard from the previous executive director, Cliff Lynch, about developments in the broader world that were relevant to our community. We know how important that was to our collective, and we want to retain that, providing that broad awareness to you all as part of what we provide. But today, in this moment of transition, I think we'll use the time a little bit differently. I want to take this time to talk about us, to orient ourselves again to what CNI is, to our leadership team, a little bit about me, and some plans for the near future. Allow me first to introduce you to CNI's leadership team, our steering committee, and our staff. Steering committee members, would you mind standing up? We thank you all for your service. The steering committee's charge is to provide programmatic guidance to the CNI staff. Our founding organizations, the Association for Research Libraries and EDUCAUSE, each appoints 3 members to the steering committee for staggered 3-year terms. In addition, the CNI executive director, in conversations with the executive director of EDUCAUSE and ARL, can also appoint 3 at-large members. The 3 executive directors of those organizations also serve as ex officio. These folks have red badges and would love a chance to talk to you about your experience, so please stop by and say hello. I wanted to introduce you to the staff of CNI so you can put the names you've seen in your inbox to faces, and I want to thank them for all the hard work getting this meeting together, most of which was done before my onboarding. Anything positive about this event you can attribute to them. They've been amazing. These folks have green badges, so I encourage you to stop by and say hello and get to know folks. They're here to support you. next, I want to talk to you a little bit about myself so that we can get to know each other. Just give you a little bit of background. I'll keep it brief. My first job was at the United States Government Publishing Office. It was then the printing office, where I led metadata and digital transformation work for the agency's digital transformation. I dove deeply into the world of government documents, into MARC and SUDOC, and I was able to get in on the early days of OAIS, MODS, METS, and PREMIS. More importantly, in that job, I learned how to work on difficult things with a team and manage large-scale institutional change. And GPO is also a CNI member, so I hope you're out there somewhere. After more 10 years at GPO, I moved to the Library of Congress. I couldn't find a great picture of my first job there, which is on the repository development team. So here's a picture of me in the Library of Congress Chorale, and some Chorale alumni are also in the audience. In this job, I managed software development projects for the digital collections. This is where I learned about agile software development, digital archives, and the pleasures of Git. I always say that there's no better way to learn about people's hopes and dreams than making software for them. It was such a nice way to orient myself to such a massive institution. We released some of the first open source repositories in the government in this job, which I'm really, really proud of. In 2017, we launched LC Labs to help the library experiment with emerging technologies and novel approaches to enhancing access to the library's vast digital collections. Some of our early projects were citizen DJ, crowdsourcing, and early ML AI experiments and explorations, and developing ethical frameworks. And that's how Ben and I met each other. Later, I became director of digital strategy, where I collaborated with the staff of the institution and the stakeholders to develop and implement the library's first digital strategy. And lastly, about 3 years ago, I moved into an operational role at the heart of the library, where I was responsible for overseeing cataloging, acquisitions, preservation of tangible works, stacks management, and our digital collections. That was a really fun opportunity to see the broader enterprise and learn about some of the books are physical. I don't know if you guys knew that. And now when I'm in the airport, I bet the people who design this think about humans moving through this space the way I think about books, like just as throughput kind of. What's not in my resume that you might want to know? I come from a blue-collar family in New Jersey. I'm the second person and first woman in my family to graduate from college. My parents were volunteer firefighters, and from them, I really learned the value of service and community and how service creates community. I really care about the value of human connection, both for idea generation and for other kinds of good, including fun. And I believe in empathy and evidence. I grew up on Carl Sagan, and I believe down to my core the criticality of the research enterprise and critical thinking. And the last thing I think I want you to know about me is this. If I have any magic at all, it's that I'm very good at enabling other people to be successful. I'm good at listening. I'm good at finding opportunities for success and clearing obstacles for my people. And the thing I'm the most excited about in this job is I get to expand the group of humans that are my people to all of you. This is the community that raised me. It's been my intellectual home for years, and it's an honor to help us through this moment, which I think is unusual in two ways. In a sense, we're going through these two inflection points simultaneously that we need to navigate ourselves through. A new director of this organization, and it's an incredibly unusual time. This first inflection point is a leadership transition. We were incredibly lucky to have Cliff for such a long time. He grew this community into this institution that it has become. And I know his sudden passing has been difficult for all of us, for those of you who were close, and for all of us who miss his counsel, his calm, and his wisdom. His absence in my own life is unsurprisingly keenly palpable. Every day I sit in his office with questions I can't ask him. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge Cecilia Preston, Cliff's partner, who's with us today. The community is grateful for her intellectual contributions and for her warm and steady presence. Thank you, Cecilia. I think it's important for all you to know that as he was planning for his retirement, Cliff repeatedly shared his confidence in CNI as an enduring institution beyond his leadership. I deeply wish that he was here with us today to see us prove him right. The second inflection point I want to talk about is the current geopolitical situation, which is deeply affecting how we operate. there's no business as usual right now. This is especially true for U.S. institutions that are facing substantial budget cuts. And I'm really pleased that Deborah Altenberg, the Vice President for Research Policy and Advocacy at the Association for Public and Land-Grant Universities, will be joining us for our closing plenary to explore this more deeply. More specifically, what this means for us as a community is that we're likely to lose members in the short term as we all grapple with difficult financial trade-offs. But there's some really good news here. Our financials are solid with enough in reserve to navigate some lean years. This gives CNI staff the freedom to be single-minded in our goal of providing value to you. And it gives you membership the confidence in our abilities to endure this moment no matter what it brings us. So what's next? I do a lot of cooking, and I have a lot of personal rules, but one of my personal rules is when I'm following a recipe, no matter how much I want to substitute an agreement or mess with the method, I have to follow it the way it's written the first time. Because sometimes the recipe writer will surprise you. And the point I'm trying to make here is I don't know what I don't know, and I want to make sure that I approach all new endeavors with humility, including this one. I have the privilege of holding something precious in my hands for you all. And as much as we can't afford to fail through inaction, we also can't let a rush to change inadvertently harm what's important to you. That said, my approach to change is modeled on what I've learned from our community, which is made up of people who have respect for the past, but don't let it constrain them, who look to the future and see possibility, but adopt change thoughtfully. Some changes will be natural and have already occurred. Different leaders have different leadership styles, and you will probably already notice some of those changes today. But later changes will be deliberate, purposeful, approached with both excitement and caution, and more deliberately guided and informed by the needs, priorities, and values of our member institutions. Any leadership change is a moment for reflection to make sure we're on the tracks we've chosen for ourselves. This one, perhaps even more than most. And we have already begun undertaking this journey of co-creation of what's next for CNI, and I have some initial reflections I'd like to share. Next week will mark my 3rd month on the job, which is hard to believe. It feels like it's been a year. It's just been like a flood of information and a joyful time. But I feel like I already have a head start with all of the excellent information already at my disposal. I carefully reviewed the responses from the survey last year that EDUCAUSE and ARL did in preparation for the leadership transition, and also the associated staff and steering committee interviews. I want to thank the review team for their work and to all of you who responded. I've already begun a listening tour, meeting with many member representatives and alumni, and your responses to the recent Pulse survey were really helpful. I mentally sort what I've learned into 2 broad categories. Areas of consensus, where you literally all agree on what needs to maintain or what needs to change, and areas for inquiry, where I'm hearing a lot from you, but there's not a consensus on specifics or what changes need to be implemented. So let's start with areas of consensus. In terms of what we maintain, you have all told us that the meetings are very valuable, and what you get out of them is both the programming and the in-person conversations. And you want us to retain our focus on technology, both emerging trends and also practical applications. And you value the networking and collaboration opportunities that CNI provides. We intend to maintain and grow these historic strengths. In terms of change, there is significant interest in more opportunities for leadership and involvement in CNI. I'm personally excited about this because I love doing things in community, both because I think it makes for a better product, but I think it's more enjoyable. But I do want to acknowledge something about CNI's culture that I want to maintain. Many membership organizations require a heavy lift from their members. CNI has historically had a different engagement model where the staff take on much of the work so the members can focus their time on the intellectual work. I want to honor that spirit while also creating the opportunities for engagement many of you are looking for. This is going to be a challenging balance to strike, and it might take a few tries to get right, but I know we're up for it. The other item that has come up repeatedly with strong consensus is a desire for more variety in our speakers and other individuals whose voices we amplify in terms of background, experience, and domain technology focus. We're excited to give this some attention, and we hope you'll stay in touch with us on how we're doing. The next bucket of topics we're hearing from you often, but with no strong consensus on what to do next, is where we need more data and thinking to move forward. The first one's on meeting frequency. We've heard from lots of you that 2 meetings a year is too often. We've also heard from lots of you that 2 meetings a year is absolutely essential. And as you know, those of you who are regular attendees, the second meeting of the year tends to be on the West Coast. And so we've heard from many of our colleagues in the West that meeting is absolutely essential to them, that they are able to make that, and perhaps not this one. So there's more to think about here. Another topic is the leadership pipeline. How do we support emerging leaders in the information technology and information organization space? There's a sense that CNI could play an important role here, but the how needs some defining and exploration. A third is broadening the coalition. Where do we want to put additional focus to ensure we're keeping our community diverse, our perspectives fresh, and how do we approach that effort? The last, and I think certainly most important, is developing a clear contemporary definition of what CNI is and what institutional roles we serve. If technology infuses everything we do now in cultural heritage, how do we conceive of, how do we think about what CNI's role is in the landscape? More than anything, I think the values that have emerged from this community are really strong and benefit from some purposeful inquiry. And a corollary of this conversation is who is not here that needs to be here? Is it CIOs? Is it VPRs? Is it chief information security officers? I think many of us have the sense that we're missing a half to our whole in terms of attendance, but who exactly is that other half and how do we reach them? These questions, in my opinion, will only be answerable together. So I ask for your patience as we do a little bit of navel gazing early on in my tenure. And rest assured, we're constantly evaluating the balance between our hunger for your perspectives, which is insatiable, and respect for your time. I know that every ask we make to you is a demand for labor, and we want to be really careful about that. We think constantly about value and ROI in your investment, particularly now. We want to make sure that remains high. So while we're doing a bit of thinking about ourselves at the meta level, we want to make sure not to tie ourselves in knots. It's good to be thoughtful, but it's even more important to try things. And I want you to know that we really are listening and reading and reacting to your feedback. And you may have noticed there was no pizza during lunch today. And that is because many of you apparently hate it quite a lot. So we really thank you for your feedback, and we want to know these things. Before I wrap up, I want to share one final topic of consensus that comes through strongly in every opportunity for feedback. And I'll quote ARL Director Andrew Pace here in his address to this group just last year. All of you like being in community with each other. And I'll ask for your forgiveness now for a moment of emotion. I'm just so thrilled to be here with you all in this moment. When I saw Andrew's slides last December, that's when I knew I was going to apply for the job, because I could see in them how I might be useful. And that's the thing I love to do most in the world. I want to thank my Library of Congress colleagues and alumni for being so supportive of my transition. I miss you all every day, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And to all of you, I want to say that the next few years are going to be challenging, perhaps even more than this year was. And most of you are in leadership positions. It's can be especially challenging for us as we grapple with financial trade-offs. But if we're smart, we will leverage this moment to grow even closer together, to strengthen our bonds and affirm our shared values. In a snowstorm, there's closeness in grabbing shovels and getting to work, in lighting candles and telling stories. And I, along the rest of the CNI staff and steering committee, are ready to do anything we can to help you thrive and build toward the future. I'll close this portion of the plenary and let Ben get on with his talk with just a few thoughts. One is that I want to get to know each and every one of you. If I don't know you, please come and introduce yourself to me. If you have feedback, no matter how small, please write to me. If you'd like me to come visit you, please tell me. You cannot overwhelm me. There's not enough of you that I could get. And I want to conclude with a few words of Cliff's. At his going away party in Milwaukee, his last words to membership were ones of hope. He said that CNI was bigger than any one individual, that it lives in the community. And I look forward to seeing where we go together. Thank you all for coming. I hope you learn a lot, build fruitful connections, and have a lot of fun.